Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning back in to Let's Talk. We're now January 2021, and what a different world we have. But I do want to say to you today, thank you for tuning into ITR Polygraph, and we have a very special guest today, Ken Donaldson. So thank you, Ken, for taking the time today.
Thank you, Lesley.
Yeah. I know you've got a lot of things going on and everything, and I know that you're busy. And last season, it was different when we were locked down and everything. Maybe you weren't in some of these, but one of the reasons why we're doing this video today with the expert of polygraph, Ken Donaldson, Certified Forensic Psychophysiologist of ITR Polygraph. Now, normally we would have been asked to attend at different high schools and different junior high schools to teach on the subject of forensics. And so Ken would normally be answering questions in a school setting with the students and everything, teaching a lot about polygraph and the science of polygraph. So since we can't do that, he's our guest today and has agreed to answer some of the tough questions that are on Google, but quite frankly, so what I did is I took a screenshot of the questions on Google about polygraph, because when I looked at them and when Ken was looking at them, the answer that is given isn't always the answer that we would give. So today, an expert is going to answer those questions. Not sure where all these answers came from, but today they're going to come from Ken Donaldson. Now, this has been Ken's job, his career, for 18 years. And I'm going to be quiet now and let Ken
You bet.
say
And just to clarify, these are the most frequently asked questions on Google that
Yes.
Lesley's going to just ask me some questions here today.
Yes.
And I'm happy to answer them for you guys.
Okay, great. So, first of all, can you just tell me just a little bit about ITR Polygraph and your career with ITR Polygraph? It's been 18 years, and I would also like to say that Ken Donaldson is the only certified forensic psychophysiologist conducting polygraph examinations in the whole province of Alberta.
Well, so just to clarify, I'm the only privately working polygraph examiners.
Correct.
Certainly there are other forensic psychophysiologists who are working for EPS, Calgary Police Department, or the RCMP in this province.
And you know what? Thank you very much for, really correcting me on things like that, or even just adding that, because that is why we're doing some of these things today, is because I might answer like that, but an actual expert's answer is going to be very different. I'm not the polygraph examiner. I'm not the expert. Ken is. So today he's answering these questions. So first of all, one of the questions is, now we'll just make it bigger so I don't have to take my glasses off. But anyway, everybody comes to our office nervous. Is that right?
Well, I would say that 90% of the people that come to the office are nervous about the appointment. It's really the fear of the unknown. I mean, nervousness will not make you fail the test. Nervousness is going to be a condition of your body throughout the whole test. So nervousness, similar to medication, if someone takes something to dampen their responses, for example, is going to be throughout the whole test, evenly throughout the whole test. Nervousness is even throughout the whole test. Now, nervousness should be alleviated because we run the charts 3 separate times as we go through the process. But nervousness will not only just jump up, or medication jump up and affect, did you take the money from the drawer? It's going to affect you evenly throughout the whole test. So nervousness will not fail you on the test, and nervousness is something that is going to be consistent and even throughout the whole throughout all the charts in the test.
That's right. Now I also want to introduce Ruby, because she's here, but she's a little bit uncomfortable today. She's kind of wants to be in the office, and then she wants to just go home and be on the couch, and maybe she's
her hot mess self today.
So anyways, she's with us in the office today, which she often is, and you would see her profile on our corporate website. So thank you for that answer. So a lot of people maybe are apprehensive to take the polygraph because there's questions like this. Can an innocent person fail a polygraph test?
No, everybody who comes to the office writes their own charts. So I'm recording and analyzing a person's physiological response to the stimulus. Now, the stimulus, of course, is that carefully worded question, but if I ask somebody, have they stolen a certain asset or have they had certain behaviors, they're going to react based on their own physiology. So their physiology is going to tell me whether they're telling the truth or not. Being nervous or being innocent doesn't make you fail a test.
That's correct. That's right. So thank you for that. One of the other frequently asked questions is, what are the 5 signs that someone is lying?
Well, that's a really interesting question. Of course, we all read personal or people's physiology. So I don't care who you are, where you live, what your culture is. We all read physiology of other people around us. So we can go into a room or an event and there's crowds of people around and we walk up to a group of people and start speaking and they look down or away. We can tell that they're not really interested in what we have to say or that maybe we don't fit into their clique and we easily move on. So people always portray certain things that may make you think that they are being honest or deceptive to a question. I like to look people in the eye. I like to look people in the eye when I ask them a question. Did you take this asset? Do you know what happened to the asset? Sometimes if people give me too long of a story or they're very short, that can tell me that maybe I just want to ask them some more things. But to say that there are certain underlying things that are 100% accurate to tell you someone is lying, that's not really true. I mean, we all have behaviors and there's certain behaviors that we can pick up that people are uncooperative or that they don't want to speak about a certain issue, but it doesn't always mean that they're lying.
That's right. How does somebody's perception of somebody come into play about that?
Oh, 100%.
Right?
If someone is suspicious of somebody else in let's say a relationship or a work situation, and the other person comes in the room and they put their phone down quickly or they put something in their desk and put it away because they're trying to put their attention on the person that walked in the room, if the person who comes in the room's perception is that they're being deceptive to them, then they think them closing the drawer or putting the phone down or turning off the computer is more deception when it may just be a courtesy and not really deception.
That's right. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, so it's 2021, and the question is, polygraph has been around for a long time. How long has polygraph been around for, Ken?
Polygraph has been around for 100 years.
Great.
Maybe even a little bit longer, but organized polygraph, and 100 years for sure.
So then they want to know, how accurate are the polygraph tests now in this day and age, 2021, Ken?
You know what? Our technology is fantastic, but still, I monitor a person's physiological response to the stimulus. Mm-hmm. And I think polygraph examinations are extremely accurate. Mm-hmm. And I think it all depends, too, a little bit on the examiner, how much experience they've had, how they conduct the interview prior to the exam, the wording of the questions to allow the innocent person to pass the test, and the person who's guilty or being deceptive to the issue, it really puts them out there. So examiner means a lot when it comes to a polygraph exam. There are a bunch of studies and numbers out there that go from the high 90s to lower, and it depends on how the person scores those exam results. So I'll just give you an example. If somebody was running 10 polygraph examinations and they had 8 people who passed the test, 2 people who were inconclusive to the issue at hand, some of the statisticians are going to tell you that polygraph is only 80% reliable. Well, no, the polygraph is still extremely reliable because 8 people who passed the test, 2 people were inconclusive, who are going to have to be retested, and then we'll have an answer. So we can't use those 2 people or that 20% as inaccurate polygraph exam.
Exactly. That's a big misconception, straight across.
So you have to look at how they analyze the data.
Yeah. This is a huge question in our office, Ken. Please set the record straight on today's day and age, what's going on today in court. The question is this: why polygraph is not admissible as evidence? That's actually how the question is worded. We're gonna fix that because it shouldn't be worded like that.
I'll explain that to you.
Thank you.
I have testified in court more than once.
Yeah.
I have been court ordered to run examinations, and my evidence has been used in pretrial negotiations. So for people to say that it's not admissible, I think that the thing that people don't understand is, for reasons, the police polygraph is not admissible evidence in a court hearing. A private independent polygraph examiner, myself, I am allowed to testify in the court.
And has.
And have.
And is it not true as well that over your 18-year career as a Certified Polygraph Examiner, Certified Forensic Psychophysiologist, that you work for many of the law firms?
Oh, certainly in Canada. I work for many law firms, lots here in Alberta. I work for law firms out of British Columbia, Ontario. We work for a lot of different people. And a lot of our evidence or our results are used in pretrial negotiations. So somebody may be charged with a crime. There may not be a lot of evidence against them. They may come to the office. They may pass their exam, and that will weigh heavily on a prosecutor as to whether they want to go ahead and prosecute an individual with not a lot of evidence and now some outstanding evidence that says that they didn't commit this crime.
That's right. Now, when you Google polygraph and the questions for polygraph, many of them seem to be skewed very much towards law enforcement and government and things like that. But actually, during your career, Ken, who are the types of clients that you have?
Do you know what? Our clients vary from our society. We help corporate clients with theft. We work for insurance companies. We work for many different law firms to help them, civil attorneys, criminal attorneys, family law. We do a lot of that as well. We work for the general public. We work for people who have assets stolen from their property, and it may be only family members involved, so they don't want the police or law enforcement involved in that. We do a lot of fidelity, drug addiction testing, or any kind of addiction. Drugs, alcohol, gambling, any type of an addiction. Somebody may have had a problem in the past. Their partner notices some of those behaviors are starting to begin again, so they're going to bring them in to us and ask us, are they back gambling again? We notice money missing from the accounts. There's no explanation for where the money's going. So, Ken, can you please tell me, because I just don't want to go through the bankruptcy thing again. So, we do a lot of personal work. A lot of our work, I would think, more than half is for the public.
That's right.
Oh, I forgot. Pre-employment screenings of employees for drug use, drug sales, theft, all that as well.
Absolutely. So thank you very much for clarifying that, because the next question on here is worded again, can I lose my clearance if I fail a polygraph? Again, it's kind of skewed just for law enforcement, but let's have Ken answer that.
Well, you know what? People take polygraph for a lot of different reasons. I never set the parameters for the test myself. My clients or my examinees will let me know what it is they're trying to prove or disprove in the polygraph examination. What happens with their results is really in the hands of the examinee. They're going to come in, they're going to sign a waiver form saying they're here voluntarily to take an exam, that they would like the results of their exam, and there's a line where they put where they would like the results of their exam. So if their exam is just for their personal use, they might just put their personal name, self. They want the results to go to themselves. Other people who are taking an exam, say for a corporate issue, may put HR department or their direct superior with those. So those can be sent forward as a person moves on in their career. If they gave permission for those results to move forward, they very well may. If they say on their consent form that they only want the results to go to themselves, then that's where the results go. We run a very private office, so if someone comes to take an exam for a personal reason, and let's say their neighbor phones me a week later to ask, oh, can I get so-and-so's results of their examination? Well, that absolutely will not happen.
Absolutely not.
I need written permission from the examinee as to where the results will go. So again, just to say that again, if the results go to a corporate entity, then that corporate entity has been given permission by the examinee to do what they want with those results, and that's completely out of our hands.
That's right. So the employer has that, or if the person came on their own and it was a personal test, then they have that report and they don't have to share it with anybody, or they can share it with whoever they like.
Certainly, that's their prerogative.
That's right. But certainly from our point of view, exactly what Ken's saying, this is a very private, discreet office. We don't talk about anybody's business outside of this office. So this would go hand in hand with this question. Are polygraph results public record?
Again, that's pretty much explained in the last answer, and they are absolutely not a public record. Now, if somebody took a polygraph examination for a criminal or a civil matter, and they produce that in their affidavit of records, then that becomes a public record, because the examinee or the law firm chose to put it out there and allow the public to look at it. If someone came to take a polygraph examination, they wanted the results to go to themselves, those records are not public. That is a private record.
That's right. And this would be what somebody would come and fill out at our office. It's an authorization form. It would say that you are there to take the polygraph. And this line here is who receives the results. So whoever's name is here, we speak to. Whoever's name is not here, we don't speak to anybody about their business. So, so this goes hand in hand. Can you refuse to take a polygraph?
Absolutely. A polygraph is 100% you are consenting to that examination. I describe it very much as, some companies or corporations have their employees urine test for drug use or alcohol use, and that is, again, 100% a voluntary exam. Nobody is forced to take that exam. You can either choose to take it or you can choose not to take it. That's certainly your prerogative. But I think in some companies, if there's an incident and they ask you for a urine sample because you were on site when there was an incident and you refuse, I think that company has well within their rights to terminate the employment of that individual.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. The next one, so it kind of goes hand in hand with if somebody's nervous and how somebody feels and things like that. But the question is, how do you stay calm during a polygraph test?
Well, I have no problem staying calm during a polygraph test. It's the examinees that I try to keep calm so that they can focus on the questions. So in a polygraph examination, I'm going to pre-test interview the examinee on the topic that we're going to test on. So we're going to decide on our relevant questions, and all the questions for the examinee are going to be known to them prior to me putting any equipment on them or running any test on them. They know exactly what I'm going to ask them, and they volunteer and consent to that. So there's no surprise questions in a polygraph in my office. I'm only going to ask people exactly what I've told them I'm going to ask them, and they consent to it. So during an examination, if someone's coming in for any issue, we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about the issue, design the questions. I'm going to have them sit in the polygraph chair. I'm also going to do a test called an acquaintance test, where they're just going to deliberately lie to me about a number on a piece of paper. I'll quickly tell you about that. It's a very simple test. I give them a pen and a piece of paper. I ask them to choose a number, either 4, 5, or 6, one of those 3 numbers. I ask them to write that number that they chose on that piece of paper, put the piece of paper under their leg, and I ask them on the first test to answer no to every question. So the first test I asked them, regarding that piece of paper under your leg, did you write the number 1? Of course the examinee says no. 25 seconds later, I'll ask them, did they write the number 2? They're going to continue to say no. I'm going to go 3, 4, 5, all the way to 7. So they're going to answer no to every question on that test. Gets them comfortable with having the apparatus on them, the timing and the pace of the questions, and it also lets me look at their physiology when they tell the truth and when they're lying. Then after that test, we're gonna go through all the questions for the specific issue test. They're gonna know all those questions, and I run that test on them 3 separate times. So I want consistent data through all the charts. It's not one question one time. That's not what happens here. So people are nervous. I try to keep them calm, and I say we're just gonna focus on the parameters of this test. So the parameters of the test may be a missing item from a workplace. It may be sexual contact outside of a relationship. And I tell them that this is the only thing that we're going to talk about during this test. We're not going to talk about 100 million different things, and it's not a fishing expedition.
That's right.
We're dealing with a specific issue for a specific test, and that's what we're focused on. So the examinee knows when they come in and they sign the form that we are only going to speak to the one issue, that there may be other things in their life or whatever that they don't want to speak about, and that's totally fine. We're only going to deal with what they've consented to.
That's right. Is there a need for secret, so that I'm not going to say what the questions are to my partner if I want them to take a test? I don't want them to know the questions. Is that relevant or not?
Well, come on. It's not fair to anybody to bring them to an office without them knowing there's an appointment.
That's right.
Spring questions on them that they don't know. I would never do that.
That's right.
The examinee is going to come into the room. We're going to discuss the issue. We're going to discuss the exact wording of the questions.
Yeah.
And then we're going to run the test. There's no surprises in my office.
No, that's right. And there is no need for surprise questions or secret questions because either somebody did something or they didn't. It's that cut and dry. So one of the most commonly asked questions is, how do you trick a polygraph? Or better yet, how do you beat the polygraph? This says, how do you trick the polygraph?
Well, I don't think you can trick the polygraph.
That's
Your
right.
physiology is going to give you away. When people try things that are called countermeasures,
That's right.
their reactions are so gross and large that it's not a natural reaction. If I see something going on the charts that somebody is doing some sort of a countermeasure, I just look at them and ask them to stop. I'm not going to continue with an exam with someone who's trying to manipulate their body's function as they're answering questions. I offer an opportunity for people to come and prove what they're saying is true. So an individual who wants to come and try all these countermeasures is usually not a very honest person or someone who is being truthful to the issue of testing. Because a person who is innocent of stealing from their workplace or cheating on their spouse is coming into this office to prove that what they're saying is true, not to try to manipulate.
That's exactly right. And I think, oh yes, this was the question I was looking for here. So our last question here is, can a truthful person fail the polygraph?
Well, a truthful person should never fail a polygraph
That's
examination.
right.
If you're honest
That's
to
right.
the issue at hand, your physiology is going to tell me that you are being honest to that issue.
That's right.
If a truthful person tries countermeasures, why would a truthful person do that? That just
right.
makes no sense.
That's right.
A truthful person should come in, say, you know what, Ken, I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm here to prove to my employer, my partner, whoever that is, that what their perceptions of me are incorrect. I may have had this behavior, but I didn't have this behavior. In a workplace, I may ask somebody, have they stolen from their work? And of course, we're going to have to qualify that.
That's
because
right.
a lot of times in a work situation, we may be at work and on the way out the door, we're feeling a little sluggish, working hard, so we take home a cup of coffee. And we get home, that coffee cup goes into our house, ends up in the dishwasher, you unload the dishwasher, and did you take the coffee cup back or did you put it in the cupboard? Some of us might have put it in the cupboard. That does happen. So
Yeah.
when it comes to theft from work, I might say other than, $5 or $10 worth of things in the last year, have you stole from your employer?
That's right.
And if assets are missing that are in the hundreds or thousands of dollars, that examinee is going to pass the test.
That's right.
If they were stealing thousands of dollars and I asked them other than $200 or $20 worth of things, have you stolen? They're going to fail the test.
That's right.
So we all inadvertently, sometimes we might take home a pen, might have a clipboard. There might be things at our home that may belong to the company, and I guess, yes, it is technically theft, but the amount of that is very low, and it isn't costing the company tons of money. It's when thousands or 10,000s of dollars are going out the back door in a company that they want me to get in and get involved, and that's what we want to focus on, not these piddly little tiny things. That's not what the test is for. It's not to find out if someone took 2 paper clips home. We want to know if someone took an asset of value home, large value.
Yes, thank you so much for clarifying that. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Today is our first episode back with Let's Talk. We are now going to be filming again each week. So today Ken kicked off this new year, and we just would like to give a shout out to the different schools and the students and teachers that we normally would have seen. We miss you. Stay well, stay safe. And we'll see you next time. Now I'm going to turn this off and let Ken say goodbye to you too.
All right, well, I just want to thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank you all for subscribing to our YouTube channel. We really appreciate that. Any comments or concerns, I'd love to hear from you. If there's any way that we can help you with any situation that's going on in your life, we'd be happy to. We are, of course, ITR Polygraph. You can find us at itrpolygraph.com. I am Ken Donaldson, and thank you.